Animal testing means using animals in experiments to test products, chemicals, or medical procedures. These animals are used to measure things like toxicity, skin irritation, eye damage, organ failure, behavioral effects, and lethal doses. Species that are commonly used are rats, mice, rabbits, dogs, cats, donkeys, fish, and even birds. Globally, tens of millions of animals are used in laboratories every year. Many of them are bred specifically to live and die inside experiments. And people don't see some things. Many of the procedures are designed to answer just one question. How much damage can something cause before the body breaks? And one well-known test is LD50 test. It stands for lethal dose. Scientists administer increasing amounts of chemical until 50% of animals die. Half survive, half die, and that number becomes the toxicity estimate. Another test historically used on rabbits is the Dre's eye test. Chemicals are dropped directly into an animal's eyes. The eyes are monitored for redness, swelling, bleeding, and blindness. Rabbits were used because they have large eyes and tear ducts that drain slowly, meaning the chemical stays in the eye longer. Many animals are restrained so they cannot escape or rub their eyes. They can remain like that for days. Laboratory animals often live in extremely controlled environments. Metal cages, artificial lighting, minimal stimulation. For animals that evolved to run, climb, dig, hunt, explore, and socialize, this environment is profoundly unnatural. Primates may develop repetitive stress behaviors, dogs may pace or cry, rodents may chew on cage bars for hours because they're psychologically distressed. And the question that divides society, is it morally acceptable to cause suffering to animals if the goal is human benefit? Some people say yes. Others say the cost is too high. But there is another dimension most people never hear about: the scientific reliability. And scientific problem is that animals are not small humans. Different species metabolize chemicals differently. Something harmless to one species may be toxic to another. And we have a classic example of the chocolate. It's safe for humans but toxic to dogs. And another example, certain medications safe for people and deadly to cats. This biological difference creates a problem. Many drugs that pass animal testing fail in human trials. In fact, the majority of drugs that appear safe in animals do not succeed in humans due to lack of effectiveness or safety concerns. This had led many scientists to question how predictive animal testing truly is. And honestly, this is the part that makes absolutely no sense to me. Most of these cosmetic ingredients have been tested for decades. So why are the animals still being forced through the same experiments again and again? Tens of millions of animals. This is completely unnecessary at this day and age. So why animal testing continues? There's several reasons. Historical tradition in research systems, regulatory requirements in some regions, lack of widespread adoption of alternative methods, and financial and institutional inertia. But the landscape was luckily changing. New technologies are transforming how science studies safety and disease, and examples include cell culture models. It's when human cells grown in laboratories to study toxicity and disease mechanisms. We have organs on chips, micro devices that simulate human organs like lungs or liver using human cells. Computer modeling is here, advanced simulations that predict chemical interactions in the human body, and the 3D tissue models, which is my favorite. It's artificial human skin used for cosmetic testing. Many of these methods can produce faster and more human-relevant results than traditional animal experiments. The beauty industry reality is, when you buy a cosmetic product, there's a chance an animal was harmed somewhere in the supply chain. And the reason is surprisingly complicated. For many years, If a beauty brand wanted to sell products in mainland China, the government required animal testing before those products could legally enter stores. That meant companies faced a choice: enter the Chinese market or refuse animal testing. And unfortunately, many chose the market. In 2021, China introduced new cosmetic regulations called the Cosmetic Supervision and Administration Regulation. These rules created a pathway where some imported cosmetics can avoid mandatory animal testing if companies provide safety data and government-approved manufacturing certificates. But there's a catch. Certain categories still require animal testing, and they include sunscreens, hair dyes, whitening products, hair growth treatments, and some children's products. These are classified as special use cosmetics. And there's another problem. Even when animal testing isn't required before a product is sold, Chinese regulations can still conduct post-market testing on animals if safety complaints arise. So a brand can claim, "We don't test on animals," but if their products are sold in certain markets, testing may still happen somewhere in the system. And the bunny logo actually matters. This is why certifications exist. The most trusted cruelty-free certification in the world is called Leaping Bunny, and they do have a free app. It's run by the organization Cruelty-Free International. For a company to receive the certification, the final product cannot be tested on animals. Individual ingredients cannot be tested on animals. Suppliers cannot test on animals. The entire supply chain must comply. Companies must also undergo independent audits to prove it. That little bunny logo is one of the few symbols that actually means something. Because without strict verification, any company can claim cruelty-free on the label. I want to make a shout out to the brands that are actually cruelty-free and they avoid animal testing. Many of these brands also avoid selling products in markets where testing is required, and they use alternative safety testing methods. Because cruelty-free isn't just a marketing word, it's a business decision. And it's an ethical decision. I do have to throw a shade at brands that still test on animals. Shame on you. It's 2026, we really don't need that. I'm never gonna buy your products unless you change. What are you even doing? And sometimes these brands may say, "We don't test on animals unless required by law." But if testing happens anywhere in the process, animals are still involved and they are dying. And according to industry surveys, only about 12% of major cosmetic brands are truly cruelty-free. The hidden reality is this: most consumers simply don't know this. They see a bottle on the shelf, they see beautiful packaging, advertising, but they don't see the pain and suffering behind it. And the lack of visibility allows the system to continue. But consumers are actually powerful. They've changed the beauty industry before. Entire cosmetic companies shifted their policies because people demanded cruelty-free products. When consumers choose brands that refuse animal testing, companies notice, and industries evolve. More than 50 countries have banned animal testing for cosmetics, including the entire European Union. European Union banned cosmetic animal testing completely in 2013, and India followed in 2014. Other countries are adopting similar policies. Cruelty-free products are now one of the fastest growing sectors of the beauty industry, and consumers played a huge role in that shift. I want you to ask this question: what kind of progress we want? Progress built on suffering, or progress built on innovation? Because the future of science is not just about technology, it's about values. Most people are not cruel, they simply don't know. And the systems behind everyday products are complex and often invisible. But awareness is what changes markets. When consumers ask questions, industries respond. And history has shown that again and again, when we care about something, research evolves. Technology evolves. Ethics evolve. Progress should never stop, but compassion shouldn't either. And our choices today shape our tomorrow.